Hey there, Dango Stu here. In today's video I'm going to be installing this Givi Trekker Outback aluminium top box onto my Royal Enfield Himalayan. In order to attach this, the first thing we need to do is put an adapter plate on. So I'll show you the one I'm going to be using. This is the one I'm going to be using. It's considered the universal kit because they have other racks that suit very specific models of bike. If you don't have a rack kit available that suits your model, like there isn't for the Himalayan, then you use the universal one. So it's the universal rack for fitting mono-key luggage onto a bike. That's what you're after. The adapter plate itself looks like this. These are the hooks here that the top box will go into. So this is the side that goes down. You then get some loops that go around the bars of the back rack. So I'm going to place this on and just see how we position it in order to get at least 3 symmetrical fasteners onto it. So if we look at this rack and I lay this adapter plate over, what I'm going to do is grab one of these bits. These bolt through the rack here, and if you've got a large diameter rack tubing, you can use the large end, and if you've got a thinner diameter rack tubing, you can use this end. For the Himalayan, I think we can pretty safely use the thin tubing end. So what I need to be able to do is put one of these adapters somewhere under here and then have it so that I can see, hopefully you can see down this one where my finger is here, that I can see the hole clearly through both the rack and the adapter plate, and the adapter plate needs to be square on the back rack. So I'm going to have a little bit of a play with that, get one in position, and then I'll show you how it looks. Because this is the hole I'm going to have the bolt through, I need to drop one of these slotted washers in. So I'll put that in down there like that. And then the bolts go downwards with the nuts on the bottom side. I've got all 3 of those saddles in now, but they're just connected very loosely, so I can sort of position the rack before I tighten them up and lock it off. I'll take the camera and I'll show you from underneath, because that'll probably give you a clearer idea of how it's positioned and what parts of the Himalayan rack I'm connecting to. Under here I've got this one that's furthest towards the front of the bike, actually connected across 2 of these bars, which I think worked out pretty well. This one's neatly in the saddle, this one's not quite in its saddle, but I still think it'll add some support. These back 2, I'm aiming to have the saddle in the very back of the rack here, and once again just supporting a little bit against the bar in the middle there. From the top side, it's hard to see, it's probably a bit of a blur of lines from this side, but I've got one fastener here, and one over here. It all seems quite nicely centered and everything, so I'm going to get a Allen key here, looks to be about a 5mm maybe, and then underneath I think it's probably about a 10mm nut, and we'll fasten this up. I'm going to start by tightening the one that's forwardmost because it sits very square on those 2 bars, so I think it'll pull up pretty nicely. The other ones, because they're a little bit angled, we'll see how we go. By looking at how the bar runs through adjacent holes in the rack itself, you get a really good sense of how square it is, so it's nice and easy to do that. I'm not going to over tighten these because there's a bit of flex in the little saddle brackets that holds it on. So I don't want to really distort those. And it also comes with some nice nye locks, so they're not going to vibrate loose at all. So that's the rack pretty much attached. And I've got to say, it feels really solid, so I'm pretty happy with that. Next step is just a cover plate that screws on to cover up this section. This is the cover plate, just a bit of plastic really. Looks like it's got a couple of tabs on each side so it clips in, and then 4 screws to fasten it down. I know, 6 clips. The screws that hold this cover plate on are quite small, so you're going to need quite a fine tip Phillips head to do them up. So here's the finished product. These are the little Phillips heads I just did then to hold it down. It looks pretty sweet. To put the top box on, all I need to do is slide it into these 2 front hooks and then press it down so this front latch attaches. Took a bit of pressing, but you can hear it definitely click in quite decisively. The reason it's called a mono-key system for these is that the same key that unlocks the bike here in that same keyhole also unlocks it to take it off the bike. So you need the key to open the box, you need the key to take it off the bike. It was nice to see that was really straightforward. Really happy with it. Feels really solid. It was easy to do. I'll give you a walk around now and show you what it looks like. So this is it open. As you can see, plenty of storage. Comes with a little bit of a soft base for it. This is the lock, obviously, and that same lock mechanism comes down, and that's the mechanism that allows you to remove it. And then up here is the mechanism that allows you to lock it. Those of you who saw the first video when I got this bike, you might remember I talked about having this soft bag that I was going to use for spare fuel. And by a very happy coincidence, it turns out that the tie-down straps on this bag are the exact same width as these pad eyes on the box itself. Because of that, I'll be able to attach this to the box really nicely, I think. So I'll do that now and see what it looks like together. So that fuel also feels really solid now with these 4 straps tying it down. Oh, that one's a bit loose, we'll do that up. But that doesn't feel like that's going anywhere at all. Also, obviously I can still open the box nicely with the fuel there, so it doesn't in any way restrict my access to the inside of the box. Alright, thanks for watching. Next video, hopefully I'll have the side racks from Donawin to put on, and then I'll put the saddlebags on as well. Alright, safe riding and I'll catch you soon. See ya.